cat's hiding under the bed. Just lurking down there. What? Hello.
Hi,
What's going on, man?
how you doing? I'm gonna get
Hold
earbuds.
up. My bad. So here I have resident fellow movie expert John Alberto here.
Hey,
How you
good to
doing?
talk to you.
Yeah, good to see you, man.
Yeah, likewise.
Yeah. So I guess we'll we'll kick it off with Star Wars.
That's a pretty classic topic. I like it. I dig it.
Oh yeah, very classic. So I just rewatched The Last Jedi last night, and it was my first time watching it in English because I saw it in Spain, and I thought it was okay. It wasn't my favorite, but tell me why The Last Jedi is your favorite.
So that is a great question, and I am excited to dive into it. Um,
Let's deep dive.
yeah, the Last Jedi is really something special. It it's so unique from the rest of all the other Star Wars movies.
Mm,
It's by far the most aesthetically pleasing.
for
It
sure.
um, I think it addresses kind of a moral gray area that the other Star Wars movies don't. And
Mm,
I think it takes the heroes of our youth and shows them as, I mean, obviously not real people, but, they have some of the characteristics of real people.
right.
We saw Luke Skywalker as a young, hopeful farm boy in A New Hope, and we saw him train in Empire and become a full-fledged Jedi in Return of the Jedi. And now we see kind of a grizzled, hardened, beat down Luke Skywalker. We saw what life and his experience caused, and I think that is something that Star Wars doesn't address very often. So I really, really like it.
Yeah, I don't think it's my favorite, but I think it's definitely my favorite of the sequels. I think it's really cool. Like Ryan Johnson is really, I think, really good at like creating this whole uh color palette and this like interesting different look. Like definitely the camera shots are more like kinetic and they're like almost like Wes Anderson a little bit. Um, so there's a lot to like. There's a lot of like admirable stuff, and there's a lot of like I guess in Star Wars there's a lot of like these are the bad guys and these are the good guys, and it definitely addresses like Kylo Ren's like uncertainty because he has both going on at once. And
Oh, for
also
sure.
yeah, and also it's cool like the amount of red that's in it, like because you can't really do blood in Star Wars, or it's not done really often, because Star Wars almost kind of verges on being like a kids film sometimes. So there's a lot of this red palette with like the sand planet where they go to, and definitely in that scene where um the lead, I'm blanking on her name, but the lead and Kylo Ren fight and destroy Snoke. I don't know if I like Snoke, but
Yeah. I think you raise a lot of good points there, and I think the only time that they actually showed blood in a Star Wars movie was in Episode 4, before George Lucas or any of the producers ever anticipated what Star Wars would actually be.
yeah. Oh,
And
A New
I
Hope,
think,
yeah,
yeah, yeah,
with Greedo's arm being chopped
yeah,
off. That's the
yeah, the guy in the bar.
only part I can think of. Yeah.
hmm Um, but yeah, you raise a lot of really great points, and I know a lot of people loved the uh, loved the Last Jedi because it did something, and a lot of people hated the Last Jedi because it did the same thing. And
Right.
that is I'm going to quote a word that I hate here, but subverts expectations.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know, and it certainly does subvert expectations, but that's not the reason I love it. Um, I agree with you. I don't think Snoke is particularly compelling.
No, yeah, he seems very much like kind of. I mean, I like Andy Serkis a lot. I mean, he's awesome, but I feel like yeah, they didn't. His character is just like evil.
Yeah, what I did like about this, and what I think kind of they failed to execute on in the sequel, The Rise of Skywalker, was that it set up Kylo Ren, who I think is the most compelling character in the entire Star Wars saga, to
Hmm.
be the supreme leader of the First Order.
Right.
Yeah, and I don't think people necessarily expected that, and I think that's why a lot of people were very upset when Snoke was offed the way he
Yeah.
was.
I mean, that was a good scene. I thought that was a very well made scene where they off Snoke. I thought it was really well made. Yeah, you're right. Like, I think the best thing about the sequels, and it was something I was like initially skeptical of, is Kylo Ren. Because Adam Driver is awesome. He's definitely the best part of the sequels.
Yeah, for sure. I think the sequels are forgive me. I think when we saw the first teaser trailer for The Force Awakens back in late 2014, early 2015, I can't remember when it was. We all
Yeah,
thought that Finn was going to be the main character
right.
of the new Star Wars trilogy, but it definitely centers around Rey and Kylo Ren and their dyad in the Force.
Mm-hmm.
So it was kind of disappointing to see what happened with characters like Finn and Poe, because the original trilogy is Luke Skywalker's story, of course, but
Mm.
you know the other main characters, Han Solo, Lando Calrissian, Chewbacca, even you connect with these characters. Princess Leia, I would put her on the main character level with Luke, but
For sure.
but, but you don't really get that in the sequels, um, and that's what's kind of disappointing about the overarching theme of the sequels themselves. I like what they and I think that's one of the reasons why the Last Jedi stands out among the sequels, is because they tried to do something unique with Finn and Poe, along with what they were doing with Rey and Kylo Ren.
Yeah, I really like the scenes. I was like taking notes in my head about it when I was watching it, but I really like the scenes with uh, one second. I'm gonna close the door.
Okay.
Okay. What is that sound? Oh, I accidentally played music. um, yeah, I like the scenes in The Last Jedi with Kylo Ren and Rey like talking to each other through the Force. I was almost thinking like it's almost like a metaphor for like text messaging or or something. Like I don't know. Maybe I'm just thinking too much into it. But those scenes are really good. And also which part? Um oh yeah, the like scene where Rey goes into the cave and it's like an echo chamber. I thought that was really interesting too. And I also like dark Luke. Like whenever they show him like from Kylo Ren's point of view, like how he looks like evil, that's cool. I thought that was
Oh my
cool.
goodness, yeah. It almost looks like, and I don't know all the technicalities of it, like cinematography or set design or color design or whatever you want to call it, but
Yeah, I
it
think they
almost
did some
looks like
like
in the
de-aging on him a little bit.
yeah, but it almost looks like Luke's green lightsaber is almost like a yellow lightsaber, and his eyes are yellow in those scenes. It's like truly showing like Luke's dark side, I guess.
Yeah.
You know.
What did you think of Benicio del Toro's character? Do you
Um,
remember him? Yeah.
I do remember him. I do remember the entire casino world
Yeah.
onto the Superstar Destroyer sequence with Benicio del Toro, Finn, and Rose, which
Yes.
I actually like that sequence a lot more than
Yeah.
most people do. I think
Yeah.
um, um, he's he's okay.
Yeah.
Benicio del Toro is
It feels kind of
lately
random. Yeah.
lately he just kind of shows up in movies, doesn't he?
Yeah. Yeah.
Has a line or two and then goes his way.
He's
I
out.
I would have liked to have seen, something else with him. I think that he raised some interesting points about, and I hate to use this word again, but gray areas.
Yeah.
Manufacturing for the First Order and for the Resistance.
That was also something I thought could have been interesting if they'd played around with. I felt like the First Order just kind of came out of nowhere, whereas like in the prequels, like a lot of the like Empire stuff kind of like develops over a long period of time. I thought it was like, where did the First World come from? Or not the First World, the First Order. It just seems like it was kind of like the Empire's back, and uh, I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. I guess we got to read the books as to find
That's
out what
right.
happened there. But no,
I'm
I
not
think it
gonna
would have
do that.
been I think it would have been interesting to see how essentially a new empire would have formed after the rebellion succeeded in Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, but
You know,
yeah, yeah,
I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that the leads from the original trilogy, Mark Hamill, Carrie Fisher, Harrison Ford. I think in 2015, after the prequels, people wanted to see them in the movies again.
mm,
And I think that because of that, we had to set something way off in the future instead of, really seeing what happened with the formation of the New
right.
Republic and how that was overthrown by the First Order.
I do wish that the film buff in me wishes they gave Max von Sydow more in the new Force Awakens
Oh, me too.
movie.
Me
Yeah,
too. Absolutely.
because he's just in the beginning. He's like run, and it would have been cool to see more. But yeah, what can you do? So what's your lineup for your favorite Star Wars movies?
How do you want me to do this? Do you want me to rank 1 to 9 or top?
Do you have 1 to 9? Then we can do that. Let's do it.
All right, we can certainly look into that. So
Uh-huh. And I'll
so
be as honest as possible with my rankings as well.
so the controversial opinion is my number one is the Last Jedi.
Cool.
Um, After that, I have a pretty common one that everybody seems to like. That being Empire Strikes Back.
Oh
I
yeah.
I think that's probably when I mentioned that everybody agrees that all Star Wars is great. At the beginning, I was of course being sarcastic, but I think everybody agrees that Empire Strikes Back is terrific. That's the universal
Yeah.
thing that every Star Wars fan can agree on.
I think that's definitely my favorite too. I don't know if it was my favorite when I was a kid, but I think being older, yeah, I think Empire Strikes Back is the best. And the interesting thing about I think The Last Jedi and Empire Strikes Back is that definitely Last Jedi takes a lot from Empire Strikes Back, and I think that's what they're thinking of doing
For sure.
because yeah, because it's not J.J. Abrams directing it. He gave it to Ryan Johnson, who's a fantastic director. Um, and it definitely made it more interesting and a little more darker, or able to go to a different place than J.J. Abrams. And with Empire Strikes Back, you have I'm blanking on his name. Kushner, is that his name?
What
Ivan
is his name?
Kushner.
It's Irvin. I don't know. I'm
Wow.
sorry. Yeah. Gotta look
Look
that
at
up.
these movie experts.
Yeah, what's wrong with us? We're the worst.
Irvin Kershner. Yeah,
Yep.
Kershner. But
Yeah.
yeah, so they're similar, I think. And yeah, Empire Strikes Back is definitely my favorite. Probably followed by New Hope, and then I don't. I'm kind of. I like Return of the Jedi. It's not my favorite. Maybe Revenge of the Sith, or yeah, probably Revenge of the Sith. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah, I find that Revenge of the Sith is one of those ones where people go either way on it.
Mm-hmm.
I think most people generally agree that it's the best of the prequels.
Definitely.
Some people truly adore it, myself included. Revenge of the Sith is actually my third on my list after Last Jedi and Empire Strikes Back.
Nice.
Yeah, I just think, you know, despite despite the faults of the prequels, it became very clear that George Lucas and his production team had a vision for the story that they wanted to tell. And I think by the time that they got to Revenge of the Sith, they executed that very well.
Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. I was rewatching the prequels recently, and I still really like them for nostalgic purposes. I think if I maybe was older when they came out and I was really like had seen the trilogy 100 times, I would probably be bummed about it. But since I was a kid, I thought it was awesome. And uh, in Revenge of the Sith, it feels like it improves. Like I feel like George Lucas got better because he hadn't been directing for a while, and he just got like more experience after the prequels. But I feel like the two big problems of Revenge of the Sith are the dialogue, which maybe it's a problem. It's kind of fun. And a lot of the acting is pretty bad, except for Obi-Wan and Samuel L. Jackson.
So
But
I
what
think
do you think?
sure, those are good points. I think you could argue that the dialogue problem
Isn't a problem.
isn't a prequel problem. It is a
Yeah.
Star Wars problem as a whole.
True. True.
You know, I and you know maybe people just have a different uh, vocabulary
May,
a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. They
yeah. Maybe. Oh, you got a cat in there too.
that was a cat. I'm sorry.
That's okay. I've got a cat in here as well.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. Maybe I'm just. I don't know. Maybe I'm expecting too much from Star Wars. Because like the trilogy is like pretty goofy, and
It's so
like
goofy.
it's super goofy. And I don't know, just lines that I think of from Revenge of the Sith, like "Don't make me kill you," and from my point of view, the Jedi are evil. I mean, those are funny lines, also. So I don't know.
You know,
Maybe I'm just taking it too seriously.
I mean, that's a very real possibility, and I don't mean to cast judgment one way or the other, but you know, Star Wars movies are they're they're family movies, right?
Mm.
They're adventure for the whole family, and that doesn't mean that the quality of the art shouldn't be strong. The quality of the art is the reason why I love The Last Jedi so much.
Yeah.
Um, but but yeah, I'm not going to try to justify the dialogue of Revenge of the Sith. I
Mm.
I think that the delivery is it's fascinating to watch, and I actually like Hayden Christensen's delivery of it.
Yeah.
I like I like Obi-Wan's snark. It all comes together for me.
Yeah.
You know,
Padme.
the melodrama of Padme's dialogue.
I
You
like
know,
the melodrama too. Yeah.
this is how democracy dies, with thunderous applause. You
That's
know,
actually a cool line. Yeah. It's not bad.
It's it's this really almost, George Lucas wants to dive into these really deep themes with his dialogue, and sometimes the execution of it, maybe because it's set a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away with spacemen and aliens and all of that, it just doesn't come through the way we would anticipate. But
yeah,
that's okay. It's kind of a unique aspect of Star Wars that I like.
yeah.
I'm so sorry.
I think that's something that maybe people missed. I was thinking about this about the prequels, is that even though they're like, a lot of people think they're technically bad, it still is like George Lucas's vision, and so it still has like these like Kurosawa type shots with like the long lenses, and it still has like all this goofy stuff like Gungans and pod racing, and it's it the story of it seems interesting, um and maybe more authentic than versus the Disney sequels. My friend Patrick was our friend Patrick. He was saying, we're talking about it. We're gonna watch the prequel, one of the prequels, and he was saying that the prequels are like George Lucas trying to do like the end of Rome, like the fall of Rome sort of thing, where Rome becomes like a dictatorship,
Sure.
and it's an interesting point. But there's definitely still some like Star Wars goofiness in it. And we're watching the making of Phantom Menace, which is kind of
That's a great
hilarious.
documentary,
It
isn't it?
is, yeah. Yeah, there's like there's a lot of moments that are like pretty much mockumentary, or it feels like it, where George Lucas is just in this room of the other people, and he's like just crossing out artwork, and he's
Yeah,
like,
he's highlighting what's going to be CG and what's going to be real.
he's like, CG, no CG. And they're like,
it's
that's,
incredible. It's one of the best, just bonus features on a DVD I've ever seen.
oh
It's
yeah.
yeah.
And there's a part where he's like, Star Wars, the prequels are like a stanza of poetry, because they're three of them. He says something like that, like uh
It rhymes.
yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. And it's almost like a little bit like Michael Scott from The Office or something.
Yeah, it's they're they're special and they're a part of their time.
Definitely. And George
Yeah.
Lucas is a fascinating figure, I think.
Oh, for sure. It's been so interesting to kind of see his reaction to the Disney sequels. You
Yeah.
know, um, it makes me feel for him. I mean, think about it. This is a man who made a piece of art that people truly love.
Everybody loves.
Everybody loves, but the worst critics, like there are people out there who don't like Star Wars, and that's cool. That's fine. You don't like Star Wars,
Yeah.
you don't like Star Wars. But the biggest critics of Star Wars are Star Wars fans.
Yeah. True.
And so it's kind of sad to see, I mean, I know he got paid a lot of money for the for the rights
Like
to Star Wars, but
$3 billion or something.
yeah, he's certainly living comfortably. But it's
Sure.
kind of sad to see, Disney, take his art and I do enjoy the first two Disney sequels. I like The Force
Mm.
Awakens very much, and I love The Last Jedi, obviously.
Yeah.
But just kind of to just kind of see them take what he did and then just film whatever they want and just respond to what the fans want, you know.
Yeah. It seems like it kind of makes me think like, because Star Wars is definitely like George Lucas's baby, or was his baby, and it feels um like I really love David Lynch movies. And when you're watching Twin Peaks and an episode isn't directed by David Lynch, like I feel like you could tell. And it's not the same for some reason, because it doesn't have that like, I don't know, that like the vibe that that director chooses. Because like there's a lot of like, George Lucas, like, he's obsessed with like Kurosawa, and he like uses a lot of Joseph Campbell stuff, and there's like a lot of his personality, and it's kind of a weird personality also. He's got some like interesting choices, but that's what I like about the ones that he had control of. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I well said. I can't agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Thank
Of
you.
course,
Yeah.
of course. Yeah. So I mean, you know my top three now.
Yeah,
It's
no.
Last Jedi, which has nothing to do with George Lucas, but it's still a very special film. Empire, which we can dive into Empire anytime, and Revenge of the Sith, and then after that we get to A New Hope, which
Mm.
is
I feel like New Hope is really cool because it definitely